Thank you for staying with us. As I said before the break, P2B of the Labour Party, one of those in the coalition, has accused the president of falsifying and intentionally manipulating data to confuse Nigerians, to conceal, the true state of the nation. In that tweet, he said in November 2022, while campaigning in Delta State, this is from the tweet he released yesterday as we have right now, the candidate, the then APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, now the president, berated the other presidential candidate, that's P2B. He was ashamed to call his name, saying, "Now statistics we go chop. All I want is to put food on the table of Nigerians." Now, 2 years into his 4-year tenure, Nigeria is classified as one of the hungriest nations in the world, with millions of Nigerians not knowing where their next meal will come from. And he said President Tinubu is now overfeeding Nigerians with wrong statistics from wrong unemployment figures, wrong inflation figures, and now GDP rebasing, all to put a positive spin on our deteriorating economic and household conditions. Governance is not a rocket science. It is not a gamble. Like I always reiterated, it requires sincerity of purpose, character, competence, capacity, and compassion. P2B. Of course, we still have Comrade Larry Fadansi here with us. This is what will be released yesterday. Many might want to say, okay, where is the lie? Many persons will say as well, this is really pure politics. And you wouldn't just carpet the administration as doing nothing to the extent of even accusing them of falsifying data just to conceal the true state of the nation. Your take?
Well, that's Peter Obi, and because Peter Obi is a big man in Nigerian politics now. He's somebody that when he speaks, the people listen. When he speaks, he makes weight, gets weight. Beyond that, 1,001 people, the likes of us have said it, that whatever statistics the government is turning out does not add up. You told us we cannot continue borrowing, to pay subsidy and so subsidy is gone. And immediately, the purchasing power of the Naira dropped. And you came up with the dollarization policy of, okay, we have parallel market on Forex, bam, added more weight on Nigerians, and the income has not gone up. Even at that time, for the first 1 year or thereabout, even 2 years now, some have not started earning the so-called minimum wage. That is the greatest fraud in management. Now, with all of this, it is because somebody of weight and clout like Obi is saying it that people will now start reading politics into it. Recently, people are saying, wait a minute, if we said we have removed subsidy so that we can only rely on what the market forces are doing about oil and gas and the rest of it, so why was it possible for those who are paying subsidy to still maintain a level cost for PMS and the rest? And the people's income was still better off than now. You get the arithmetic. It's arithmetic.
Absolutely.
So when you are doing the statistics as figures, how has it, percolated into the suburbs in the lives of the Nigerian people? Somebody who is earning 70,000 now is better off while he was earning 30,000. So where does the arithmetic add up? Was earning 30,000 when exchange rate max was 450, 750 at the worst in the black market, and the government came and said we are making it level, and we are now seeing 1,000. We even went as high as 1,900 at a point. Absolutely. To $1. And so the prices of foods, of basic commodities went up. However, the painful part is that the same system where we saw this happen, the records show that this government in 2 years has borrowed more than Buhari administration did in 8 years. Infrastructure that is not in the core of the cities and towns and villages, on coastal road. I swear I say it in good intention. I may never travel that road in my lifetime. Because I may not have business on the coastal line. I don't go into the Malibu kind of setting to say I want to enjoy the bios aplasticos, the life of pleasure. It's for the life of pleasure of those who travel such roads. And that's the priority of the government. A road that has taken all the resources, almost all the resources of the nation, that has just gone 30 kilometers out of 700 in 2 years of a 4-year administration. You begin. So those are the arithmetics that we are saying they should put into all this matter. It's not like Peter Obi was the one that said it. People will read politics into it, but the reality of it is that, look, the figures don't add up.
All right, Comrade Fadausi. Like you said, Peter Obi has said it, and because of his significance, his stature in politics, some might say it's political. But away from that, let's look at Nigeria as a whole. The truth and the fact remains that a lot of Nigerians are complaining. Nigerians are suffering because of the hardship. So regardless of the statistics given, most Nigerians will say they don't really care about the statistics. They want to see improvements in the economy. Because Nigerians, it's not about you telling Nigerians that things are getting better. When things are getting better, you don't need to tell Nigerians. They should know for themselves. Now, away from that, let's look at what he said, which is actually factual. He said Nigeria has become one of the hungriest nations in the world. The World Bank earlier this year released a report saying that poverty will increase in Nigeria to 2030. That was from the World Bank. Then afterwards, they came back to say, okay, the Nigeria's economy will grow by 3.6%. They suddenly became bullish in their prediction. But initially, they told us that poverty will worsen, will increase in Nigeria. So where is the lie here? Nigerians on the streets, okay, most Nigerians believe, oh, the economy is not working for them. So is it that the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, they are releasing false reports, or like some data analysts will put it, there's a way you can rebase it and use different parameters depending on the parameters you're using. You can actually make it look good. So does it really affect the lives of Nigerians if the statistics, if the figures are looking good, or should we be concerned with the reality on the streets of Nigeria?
Thank you. The reality is on the streets. And like you rightly said, the World Bank, the IMF, and all of them are pointing into the multi-dimensional poverty in Nigeria. It's a no-no for them. I mean, even if they're the ones getting all the gains for these things. Now, how would you feel if the statistics on ground, as far as borrowing is concerned, is saying yourself, Daniel, myself, are owing 540,000 naira as at this morning as Nigeria. Each one of us, on account of what we have come to, over 121 trillion indebtedness. You're borrowing when you said we have it all figured out, we are making good money. If you're making money, then where is it? I know of a fact that by the time you travel Lagos to Ibadan, now, in less than an hour, you are there because the roads are very fine now. You get it? Yes, started a while back, but it's very good now. One would have thought, by extension, they will face Ibadan, Ife, Akure Road. And now we are talking, the next thing is the coastal road. You must look at what such infrastructure serves to determine what is going on. Of a reality, it's painful, but that's the way where we are now. These policies have not, and even the World Bank, IMF, in all of their reports, say that Nigerians will suffer even more. And they talk about corruption. These are some of the things. So when all these world agencies point it at us, even Ann Adams or Shiomole said that you cannot get things right if you dollarize your economy. He said it. You know how long ago we have been amplifying that? But Ann Adams of Shiomole he was a former chairman of the APC. He's a serving senator. He was a former governor. He said you cannot dollarize your economy and think you're making an impression that is positive. It cannot be. But who has access to dollars? And majority of the political class don't mind the corruption that they talk about. It's easy to steal in naira and convert into dollars. And that's why we are in this trouble. Dollar has become a commodity, and we are talking about the economics of a nation that cannot look at strengthening his own currency. Somebody went as far as the United Arab Emirates looking for dollar that he thought you would just get to the airport, buy dollars and get a ticket. And they told him, we don't have it there. You buy dirham here, or you go look for your dollar.
But comrade,
strengthening our economy and our system relies on how we manage our own resources. We are unproductive. When you're unproductive, you don't have a say on the table. What are we producing by ourselves?
Yeah, sorry to cut in. Should we be looking at who is saying it or the reality of the statement? Because President of Africa Development Bank, Accuses, when he also raised it, he faulted federal government's claims on the GDP. He was attacked by the presidency.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So is it really about who's saying it or the facts?
But you know that the systems where institutions function is because of the bastardization of ethics of institutions that we have gotten to where we are today. You understand? At some point, I was shocked when I looked at reports, even of the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, because they go into international conferences and they cannot lie. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics is supposed to be an agency of government. Go and check some of their records. They say that these things are not adding up. How can we say we are making revenue on one side and the next thing we are borrowing on the other? If you have so much revenue, why are you crying? Now, to change narratives, all of a sudden, you see the presidency amplifying it on a daily, go and meet your governors, the president is saying it, we have given them money. Wait a minute. If in Nigeria is making $100 billion every day, just if it's making $100 billion every day, 52 billion is going to the federal government. It's the 48 billion that 774 local governments and 37 state governors, because Wike will be the 37, is going to share. Do you get it? So 52% is what the federal government gets. And that's why an accountant general can just move away with about 100 billion and then he dropped 30 and his reptiles are escaping from his house. Now, we are not looking at the facts of it in the lives of the common man. You see, the jet-set life of the idle rich in Nigeria has made them close their eyes to the realities of what they are doing.
All right.
They're hurting the nation. Right. Let me look at this. I drove past the home of Chief Obafemi Awolowo last week. Your compound is bigger than the entire space of the so-called mansion in those days. And I now realize the mentality that could give us a cocoa house. You understand? The difference now is the political leaders will build a cocoa house with the early part for himself and now build a small structure for the state. You see, so that's the mentality of leadership. Right. Leadership that is not so committed to the people.
Not people-centric.
Well, yes, you understand. So the reality is now is for us to look within ourselves. What kind of people can give the results of a good nation to us?
Talking about people, and of course an individual as well, the reason given by the stature of P2B is why this is gaining traction. And because it's not just because it's P2B, politics is involved. He is a big name. He got 6.1 million votes in the last election against all odds. So when he speaks, either you like it or not, some people, in fact, people will listen either to deny what he's saying or, to confirm what he's saying. And, Mr. Obi himself has been repeatedly accused of giving false statistics, especially when he's making analogies and all of those things. In fact, some people call him Obi China because he always, tends towards talking about manufacturing and then China comes to his mind and all of those things as well. Now, looking at the reality in Nigeria, many persons want to say things are not good and it's getting bad. And it seems the president, by the way, Bola Tinubu, has come out to say, I know things are bad. I know things are not working. But recently, has been quoted to say that we have moved past the clouds. The next we'll see is the sun, meaning we have turned the corner, according to him. But Mr. Obi is saying, you faulted statistics when I was saying it, and now you are giving and you are influencing statistics, to cover up your ineptitude, by implication. Now, let's look at what he said when he said Nigeria, now 2 years into 4-year tenure, that's Mr. Obi, Nigeria is classified as one of the hungriest nations in the world, with millions of Nigerians not knowing where their next meal will come from. And the accusation from many persons who doesn't agree with Mr. Obi is the fact that he might, give statistics, he himself, that is not correct, or overbloat the figures. Now, looking at the hungriest nations of the world, Now, a simple search will tell you, you will have CAE, CAR, Central African Republic, Chad, Haiti, Madagascar, Yemen, Niger, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, Zambia, Afghanistan, Liberia, Burundi, Mali, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Bissau, Timor-Leste, Burkina Faso, and in almost the worst 30, Nigeria is not even there, so to speak. Now, the reality is on ground. But how about saying Nigeria has been classified as one of the most hungriest in the world, one of the hungriest in the world, and Nigeria is not even featured in the first 30? We are looking at this side by side with the reality of what is on ground and what Obi is accusing the president of doing, why himself, it might not be correct. First 30, Nigeria is not even there.
Okay. You see, as a nation, we should look at moving forward.
Yeah.
Whatever brings you back, looking back to, at least some people are still behind me, is not progressive minded. If you are falling some 6 steps down, you want to get back to your former place, even if you can't go beyond that. That's the reality of what positive thinking.
I understand. I'm only saying the same thing is accusing the president of doing, he himself might not be too correct. That's the argument.
That argument
from other persons.
Argument
either for
is puerile. You know why I say that?
Yeah.
Why are they not looking at? I look at China. I adore the position of China. And when Peter Obi is talking China, he's looking at how did this nation grow. October 1st, 1949 or thereabout was when China got its independence, which is the same October 1st, 1960. About 11 years difference. Would you say by way of development, that is what we still have today? When Nigeria was about 100 plus in the nation, growing nations of the world, China was about number 300 or about that. Do you get? You talk about 3 nations of the world now, China will be among.
Obviously.
So if somebody could, so a nation could grow its system, and how did they do it? They say what we cannot produce, we do not consume. You get? These are the things when Peter Obi was saying, let's produce and reduce consumption of what is coming through. It's just plain things that happens. Those were days when you could buy a 100 naira television set from China, Tatong, and all those funny names. Yes, as against Sanyo and those established ones that were selling for like 600, 700 then. He was telling you what we cannot, we have population in Nigeria. That's why everybody wants to come here. But now they have made Nigeria a dumping ground because we are not producing anything, even food. Even food we cannot produce. So if they said, look, is it the land? Is it the ecology? No. So the reasoning must change. You understand? The reasoning must change. If Peter Obi said he's not a statistician, he's only telling you from the reality on ground. Sir, I tell you what, a nation whose population of about 100 plus million are multi-dimensionally poor. What's the population of Mali on those index you are talking? The entire population of Mali. So the hungry people in Nigeria, they should rise up, are bigger than nations that are among that statistics you have read. Right. And then where were they, the Nigerians, 2-3 years back? We were all shouting Buhari is bad. All of a sudden people are saying, we didn't know Buhari was good though. You understand? That was a Buhari that did not jettison and say, totally, we would have waited to see the result of removing subsidy for the first 4 years of this administration. Do you get it? And not tinker with things that would tilt the table, like the foreign exchange stuff. Do you get it? Because as it was, the following morning that made statement on the 30th of May of that 2023, we got to the filling stations and petrol was 500 naira immediately. Even those who had the ones in their hole, that was not even yet, you understand? So the nation does not wait like that.
All right.
Okada riders change their cost immediately. People who do labor works, but those who work in systems guided by rules and regulations of government, organizations and all, were the ones that are now waiting for, let's discuss minimum wage. Workers are, those who are doing menial artisan jobs had already moved on.
All right, comrade. Let's away from the statistics now, from Obi statistics and the race statistics. Let's look at it as ordinary Nigerians. According to the World Bank and the United Nations, $2.15 is the international poverty line. $2.15. In Nigeria today, that should be about maybe 3,444 naira. If we use 1,600 per dollar. How many Nigerians? Now, it's believed that anyone who lives below $2.15 is poor, is living below the poverty line. How many Nigerians, okay, spend up to 3,500 naira daily? That's the question. How many Nigerians? If we multiply that by 30 days exactly, how many Nigerians earn up to that?
That's the point.
So away from the statistics, let's not argue about the statistics. So how many Nigerians?
$3 would give you like 3,000, right? 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000.
4,000 naira. Times 30. That should have told you, if we want to live in the poverty range.
You're talking about 120,000 there.
And that's what I'm saying. That, I mean, now we have a minimum wage of 70. Do you get the drift? So by definition, our nation has made a benchmark of saying the poorest Nigerian will be within that range of 70, which has fallen below.
So minimum wage shouldn't even be less than 120 at the minimum.
At the minimum. That's the poverty level. That, okay, we are calling them poor people. They should be earning about 120. Do you understand?
So where is the lie in what Peter will be saying? Where is the lie?
I'm telling you. That let's not talk about, remove, Peter Obi is a figure, is big and all. So put him aside in this conversation. Let's talk about the realities on ground. And that reality is not even talking about, he's telling you, for every child that wakes up every morning in a nation that does not want to be classified as poor, you must be ready to spend $3 on that child that day. Do you understand the difference now? It's not even the father that is working. It's not the mother that is working. That every human person has, by way of water, food, shelter, and the rest, be classified to be within that range. And we all listen to music of UB40. The UB40 is talking about the unemployment benefit of £40 a week. That if the system cannot engage you, they must make sure you get that. And so if there's a council flat that's supposed to go for £20 a week, they will say for the person who is on an employment benefit of $40, he should be made to pay £8 from that 40. And those guys that formed the UB40 band were in that range of unemployed guys. So in some systems, you can survive even on the unemployment benefit. You don't want to work. So it's a system that will now say, there's an opening, go to the job bureau, go and take employment. So we have not structured our system to take care of everybody.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't even know that was the ideology behind UB40.
On the unemployment benefit of £40 a week.
I guess we have to.
As a pensioner, if you retire in England.
Will Nigeria ever get there?
No, we. Do you know the sad part? We don't just see their children graduating schools in England because the system works. And invariably, they get back to those children in those nations where they don't care of the color of their skin, but the fact that they were born there, they have a right to those to those things. They live in council flats and all the rest of them, and we can't think that here. That is why we'll
have to continue the situation some other time.
A cocoa house for our personal consumption and put a helipad on it, and then build a gather. Let's call it a gather for the people.
Interesting one. We will continue. It's a developing conversation. And you know why the start is important? Because the statistics was the basis of the conversation. That was what Peter Obi reacted to. And he gave his own statistics. So we can't wish away statistics based on the context of this conversation. That is very important.
We can look deeper into this.
And that's what you have done.
We're looking at, to look at even the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics records.
I get.
You understand? Because when the Additional was speaking, where he's sitting is an international.
I understand.
Absolutely.
No, I just have to put that there.
Yes.
When we are saying it's not about statistics. The basis for the conversation is the accusation from Peter Obi saying the stats don't add up, and he gave his own stats. So statistically, empirically, we should look at it. Comrade Larry Father and say, thank you for your time and your take.
Thanks for having me.
It's morning. It's always nice to speak with you.
Thank you for having me, and I believe we'll get there.
Yes, we will.
Very soon, because it's like when your back is against the wall, there's nowhere else to go than to forge ahead.
Here we are. We must prosper, and prosper we shall. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having
We'll take a quick break right now. When we come back, it's raining dollars, it's raining houses, it's raining national awards as far as the Super Falcons are concerned. Vamos, Super Falcons. Stay with us.